what's the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario for me is, well, the best case scenario for me would be the worst case scenario first, and then the best case scenario happens after there wouldn't normally be a best case. Like when everything's over and done and everybody has their satisfaction of everything that they did and it's time to move on, that's my best case scenario. Something I normally wasn't planned on being involved with. Like there was no intentions of my brothers to invite me to any other like reindeer games from that point on after. That would be my best case scenario. Worst case scenario, my eye has been attacked. My eye was used to see and then to get me to go to where I can get slaughtered. These are other people's thoughts in their head. What I'm explaining in this video is the people's perception as to what is supposed to happen, and then what I would think of as I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing right now. It's more obviously things hit home more when more things you see are happening and people you've known for quite some time. So what's the worst case scenario? That everybody is in on it and I'm finally waking up to that fact. And then the other side, that you can't wait to do those things that was written in the Bible. It's like those things, we all play a part in this role. Even the people that can't see anything, they're fulfilling Bible prophecy as well. But there are people that have a better idea of what your role is and how things are supposed to turn out. And there's a major group that has a little bit more. You have like the insight because of the organization that you're a part of. You have more of an insight as to what is supposed to be happening and what you're promised, that kind of thing. And so that's something that people are looking forward to. The main thing I'm looking forward to is getting this thing over with. So the next part, it's just, that's it. There's no more like everybody needs to get their slaps and spits, and even though that's already happened spiritually, that's in other people's minds, that's what they are looking forward to doing to people when they see them face to face. I have two stools that were left at work, and they're just gonna throw them away. They're pretty nice. There's two of them, and they look real comfortable. They are comfortable because I sat on them. So I got two stools behind me in the back seat that I'm gonna replace the chair I sit on because they way more comfortable. So there's two of them right there. There is a difference between what I'm doing and what everybody else is doing that works for the organization that has been hired to come on to YouTube platform and and act. Those 42 months, as we're right towards the end part of it, the 42 months of the power to act, not everybody does it. Not all of you have done that. However, there's still some that get irritated because it's true. It's true, and I'm saying it, and it's true. But you had power to act. You had scripts to read. And I hop on here. I'm just saying what really, truly is happening in my life. And it just sounds like a bunch of people have been reenacting that. And I'm just telling you what's literally going on, as I am a human being by myself. Just was raised by myself, brought up by myself, figured things out on my own. Always the odd man out. Always the person, I guess I wanted to get attention to open the door. Always the person that, yeah, I just didn't feel like hanging out with those people over there. I'm not the kind of person that is very social with anybody, and because just the way I grew up. But I've stayed to myself in my own head for most of my life until I hopped on YouTube and started speaking. Doing that, I stirred up so many demons, it's ridiculous that that's even possible. I've made so many friends, and I've made some secret friends that they're not saying it at the moment. I made many enemies. I've created the ability of disgust in people's hearts to hate, even though you're from the inside and you're seeing that, you know, I'm by myself and you know where I came from, but you've attacked and tried to stop, and it just didn't work, and continual fear and pushing and don't, Robin, you shouldn't, Robin. So all of these, it's like when I read the book of Job, I understand where he's coming from. Obviously, because he has these friends that are talking to him, but at the same time, in Job's own head, he has these conversations in his head with those spirits that are with different people that he's come across. And then the reality of it being those friends trying to tell Job about what his sin is and why God is mad at him. And then he's telling them, like, well, if I had the secret knowledge that you guys had, and all the scripture that you can all collaborate and come to an answer with, because if you're doing it by yourself, it's just you and whatever spirit you have with you is trying to figure things out. So it's like they have all this information, and then Job is telling them, if you just shared it, then show me what my sin is. He knows that when you have information, there's things that you won't even say now because, I don't even need to try to figure that out, or that's the wrong actual interpretation of how things are supposed to go. And you're supposed to, when you read the Bible literally, you're going to be looking to play that out literally. This has already happened. Is it going to happen again? Or did it already happen and then we're at that end point where, there's those 3 days. You're in the belly of the fish for 3 days, Jonah. Christ was in the heart of the earth. Joseph got pushed into a dam, like an eye of a well, or just a pit. And so, but when that happened, his brothers, not all of them wanted to actually kill him. I think the Reubenites were looking to save him, but still sell him. And so he was telling about this dream that he had back then. And so they sold him. They sold out. They sold him. They went. They lied to father. And so they sold him, kicked him to the curb. All he was trying to do was tell him his dream. That's it. He was just trying. He wasn't. Maybe he had some pride. Of course he did, because he even said it, because he's like, I can't help if I'm my father's favorite. That's kind of snotty, prideful, and I can see why they would slap him around
because they did the same thing to Joseph with Jesus, where they slapped him. And who tell us who's slapping you? Oh, you're gonna rule over us, and we're gonna bow down to you. It was just a dream that he had. He was trying to tell his brothers, not like you're gonna bow down, that I'm gonna enjoy, like you're gonna worship me and I'm the king. It's just, he was trying to explain that, yeah, I'm sticking up for Joseph because he was being picked on by his brothers, his own damn brothers. Sold him out to the Egyptians, I think they said. Anyway, so he was in prison for a couple years because he wouldn't. I actually had something. He wouldn't sleep with the. What happened first? He interpreted a dream after he was in prison. Then he interpreted the dream before the king's wife was trying to come after him, get him to sleep, when he grabbed his garment and acted like he was part of it, and then told on him. She lied. That's what got him locked up. So before that, he knew how to read and write, so that's why he was even in charge. He knew how to read, he could write, so they put him in charge. Then, because he wouldn't sleep with the whore, well, she set him up, and then he went to prison for a couple years. But before that, he was thrown into the ditch. So when he's thrown into the pit, it's as if that's the beginning of it, and it's going to start, and then you get those years to go, and the thing happens. Or it's a 3-day ending, and that because you're looking for it to be. Freaking get rid of him, and then it's only 3 days later. So after Joseph, after he was in prison, those two guys, those two dudes, the other two, I think one was the baker and one was somewhere else. He interpreted both of their dreams, and one of them was getting out in 3 days, and the other one was getting beheaded in 3 days. So which one was which? And if Joseph had this conversation in his head because of these two separate dreams that he had, could have been telling him what direction is going to happen for you, and then what's going to happen for them. Or what's going to happen with you if you pick that route, or you if you pick this route. But in the story, it's two witnesses that come to, like Daniel has Gabriel and Michael coming to him in his own head, but also having it manifest where there's two people that are literally those people. And so he had two people that he was locked up with, and he interpreted what their dream was, the baker and the other guy. Maybe a butler and a baker, maybe that was what it said. So there's two of them, and he told them what their dream was, and it came to pass. So the one got beheaded and the other one got restored, but he didn't the Pharaoh, he didn't have the dream until 2 years later, which means while Joseph was in the pit, at that time he had to have interpreted the Pharaoh's dream, because before that the Pharaoh didn't know Joseph. So the 2 years had already passed. He's in prison, and the Pharaoh has this dream, and he's disturbed, and then the guy that he told his dream to in the cell, in the pit, 2 years ago, while Joseph is still in the pit, he interpreted the dream, and then so that's when the guy reminded himself of, oh, hey Pharaoh, the guy here, he's in prison there. He can interpret your dream. Then he interpreted, and then that's how he got out. So that means the dreams have already been interpreted as Joseph is at the point where he gave the Pharaoh some advice. What did he say to him? He said, store up grain for the next 7 years because of the famine, because of the dream that he had about the 7 ugly calves or animals. The 7 ugly ate up the 7 plenty, and even once they ate them up, they were still as ugly as ever. So he interpreted the Pharaoh's dream. The Pharaoh put him second in charge, and then it was the time for him to see his brothers again as the dream is being fulfilled. Joseph had to interpret the dream right before he got in charge. He interpreted the dream. When he got thrown in the pit years prior, that was years ago, back then, where now it comes the part of the dream being interpreted, the reaping the benefits of what you've sown. Whatever seeds you've thrown, and they landed in good soil, are sprouting up now. So that's the time we're at now. We're at the end of that period, but there's quarry cinema. There's a cinema taking place. Do I know where that place is? Well, yeah, I've been there. I've actually been there. And I'm going to be there again. And I'm sure there's going to be more people there. And I'm almost positively certain that, look, I'm not going to act like I don't see these things coming. I'm not going to act like Jonathan Clegg hasn't orchestrated this thing along with other people that are involved longer than I thought. I'm not going to act like I don't see it. I'm not going to act like everything's going to be great. But know this. There's 3 things that I'm not going to do. Fear, and allow that for me to make a decision that I am only doing out of fear, which means this horror show is just that. It's coming up, and there are people just foaming at the mouth at what's getting ready to take place with what I'm showing you. Foaming out the mouth. I'm not going to call anybody God, and I'm not going to accept being called God. Because when you were told that ye are gods, how do you interpret that? How do you interpret that ye are called, ye are all gods? Are you God's possession? As in just merely men, that we're going to all die like men? And we're all God's possession, which means we're all the same. Therefore, if you call somebody, because this is what it is, the final candidates that have been hired to do this thing on YouTube, there's quite a few of them. I can see how, like, one of them would be playing out more of the Elijah type, and then somebody else would be playing out more of the Jesus type, and somebody else would be playing out more of the Joseph type, and somebody else playing out more of the Jacob, the Israel type. But see, they're all like the similar person. It's like the same person, spirit. Yeah, you struggle with who the gods are of the earth because of the power, and because Satan deceives everybody at one point in time. And so it's a power struggle with the people that are the gods of the earth. You're the gods of the earth. Yeah, you created the thing. That's what a god is. A god is a creator. people get too wrapped up in God being called whatever it is, as if the people that you're talking about are gods. Yeah, you're gods because you created this thing. You created a host body system. It's the God that did that. The God of peace. Well, there isn't one, because obviously, if there was a God of peace, we would be seeing it right now. Unless the God of peace, just the peace deal hasn't been arranged just yet. But to be called the God of everything, no, there is no God of everything in a human form, because that spirit is just that. It's spirit only. God the Spirit, the one and only that is just there, that spirit, Father, Mother, Creator of all source, everything, because we're just merely humans that are going to be dying within the next, well, some of us sooner than, or some of us are told. But if you're 40 years old, 50 years old, what do you got? 20, 30? If you're 50, you got 40 years, you're going to be 90. I mean, Harold Camping lived to be 92, and pretty long, healthy life. Pretty healthy life that guy had until he fell. And just like that, you go downhill. So we're all going to die within the next 20, 30 years, the ones that are watching, the ones that are involved, maybe 40. What are you going to do in the meantime? Between now and then, what are you going to do? Well, I'm trying to create a new environment where I'm at, wherever I go, whoever's involved. And whoever's still playing tricks, you got to play them until the very end. And whoever is still being played by the tricks, by the person that's controlling everything, then, and the things that I'm being played about and the things that I need to learn. I didn't know that so many people were watching. I didn't know that it's like that when you finally realize that, well, then you're going to see people face to face. You know how it is when you don't know that people are watching you. You don't ever think you'll see like LeBron James, so you'll talk trash about his game, but say that to his face. I think you suck, LeBron. The point is, whatever you're going to say to anybody, make sure that you would say it to their face. Just make sure you would do that. Make sure you treat them the same way. There are people that are huffy and puffy right now, and they just want to start swinging because their first thought is that. It's the flesh. It's the carnal mind. It's just first thought, go with it. Instead of stopping for a minute, thinking twice. Put your fist back down. Just put them back down for a minute. Think of it and do the exact opposite of what you were doing. And just relax. So these dreams, people say they have dreams, they have visions, they see asteroids coming. You see stars falling from heaven. Yeah, asteroids they're destroying people's mindset because of what's being revealed. What is it about that farm that's so interesting to me right now? Well, the fact that my boss bought it, and I texted him 9 months ago saying maybe you should buy a farm. I'll give you some advice, not that you need it, but just in case the economy collapses and you don't have to rely on the government. You can buy a farm and you have the means to do it, and I would hate to regret it by having the means to do it at that moment, because I have it and I don't do it, and then the next thing you know, the famine comes and we're all not going to be able to eat. And then he buys a farm. That's an interesting thing to do. And then to want me to be a part of the farm, it's getting more interesting. But I always have devil's advocate, because I have both sides of my brain thinking. At the same exact time, I get both thoughts as to what can be and what is. Well, let's look at it Worst case scenario, best case scenario. Best case scenario, I got to go through the worst case scenario before I get to the other side. And those three things, the fear, well, I have to face fear. Death, where's your sting? Where is it? What am I going to be threatened with? Obviously, what everybody's threatened with. And that's why the host body system was created. You have an option. If you don't want to choose an option, we'll create one for you, Robin. All right? So, you don't want to go there. You don't want to go to Satan's house. Like, you don't want to go where a house is protected by the wind. Why would you want to go to Satan's house? Well, remember this. Satan got cast out of heaven. Woe to the inhabitants of earth, because he's down here at earth. Well, when he's down here at the earth, what else is he doing? He's already left because he had to get out. So he has nowhere to go, so he goes to the earth. Once he goes to the earth and he's revealed in the earth, what happens then? Well, he has to move out from wherever he's at. It's just the way it is. You gotta get out. So if you find where Satan lives on earth, well, then you gotta go. But Satan was cast into the lake of fire alive. Do you think he really got cast in there and he's burning? Or is it a spiritual meaning, because everybody's been lied to about everything, doing it literally, that you're going to be looking for things literally to happen, but they've already happened spiritually, and we're at the cutoff point. Being burned up by the lake of fire is a continuous stream of the word of God that proceeds out of the mouth. The beast and the false prophet, they both got cast into the lake of fire. It's just all about exposure. I mean, I got a couple nice seats here. The leather's a little bit worn on this side, but I mean, they're perfect seats. So Satan, I've been trying to get a hold of you for quite some time now. Not even knowing that I was trying to get a hold of you when I first started. Waking up quickly because a spirit entered into my psyche and started communicating with me as conversations happen in my head. And I know Satan's there. Satan is, I mean, he's always there. He's omnipresent with me all the time in my mind. I hear him clearly. It's just that I fight him off more, and that's why I get more problems, because I open up my mouth and I spoke words. I'm only speaking words. I'm just saying them in a way, however I feel, as though I try to keep myself in check. I don't want to sound like I'm cocky. I don't want to sound arrogant or prideful. But I know that comes off sometimes because I rewatch my videos, and it's because I get into I need to stop, gather my thoughts for a minute, and then, Derek did say a good thing. You keep your thoughts captive, and that's why when you write down the scripts and you're reading it, you're reading every word that you know. There's no mistaking it. So I say things that bother people, but it's the truth. How I come across, I guess that's why I deserve to get slapped, and then to play this game and ask, like, who slapped you, Robin? You think you know everything. Because this whole thing's being played out. It's not that they believe that. It's just, let's play that out anyway. And then what happens is, all I can do is tell you what's going to happen. Your boss is moving out. He's moving over. It's just the way it is. And then what happens is everybody that's disappointed, because now It's like you beat up your boss. You've been beating up your boss. Because Satan, he gets tired of, Satan gets tired of fighting because it's too much work. And so his employees, he didn't tell them that he moved over. He didn't tell you guys that he moved over. And however that ending part works, if you guys are beating up on somebody, remember, because this is what I do. If I'm talking trash to somebody, remember, if I see that person to their face, am I going to be so tough? Or am I going to have anxiety and fear in my heart because I said that to somebody that I now see in front of me? So, likewise, for those that have anger still, or you just don't think twice, you don't even care, have mercy on the people that you beat up, that you're beating up on, that you gang up on, you surveil, you harass. Have mercy on those people, because when the tables, it's not that when they turn, they already did. When the news gets there that the tables have turned, those same people that you slapped around are going to be in charge of you. And then thank God that it's that way, because if it was any other way around, it wouldn't. When you beat up on the people that now are in charge of you and they have mercy on you, now all that's going to do is make you feel absolutely sickened to death about what you did and horrible. And then you'll either hold on to anger forever and never repent because of the bitterness, or that will change you. And then that's how God works through you. And then that's how you start to believe in the Spirit that is God. And you won't be thinking that you're God. Because Jesus said, haven't I said that ye are all gods? Well, I mean, we're all God's property, aren't we? And the ones that are creators of whatever it is that you created and nobody else did, well, then you're the God of that creation. So just have mercy on the people that you beat up on. Because if you're still beating up on people, or you're getting ready to, just know this, that very quickly after that, the tables will completely be shown to you that they've turned. And then now you have to deal with what that is. But that's God's design, to have it to where right before the foundations of the world, the actual world, because this is death and hell. And God is getting ready to create the seventh day combined together.